Hey guys, it's that time of the year. I got my first seed haul in. I got a few things from Baker Creek, and I also got some stuff from Botanical Interest. And you know, in my last video, I was talking about not getting sucked into the pitfalls and impulse buying of seeds when you're looking at the catalogs. And that can be really hard, but I feel pretty good about the focus that I had on my seed purchase so far this year. One of the things that I wanted to focus on really hard was what it is that I'm going to grow to provide for all of our butterflies and pollinators this year. This 2023 garden was the most successful growing season that we had, and I firmly believe that it's because we attracted so many pollinators to the garden. It was very exciting, it was beautiful, it was peaceful, and it was an interaction that was totally hands-off, but it filled our senses in every single way. So I said, I'm going to make it a point and a commitment to make sure that I plant specific butterfly garden destinations all over the yard and through the garden and inside of the different vegetable beds to attract all of the pollinators. We had a record number of monarchs come visit. They were wonderful. It was like a strange thing. It was almost like they got to know us, and we could tell which ones were new babies and which ones were getting older according to the condition of their wings. And while I wasn't able to find any chrysalis anywhere, and I didn't get to see any hatch, it was still just wonderful to know that we did have the caterpillars. And one of the things that they feasted on and where they laid their eggs was a tropical milkweed. Now, I didn't buy that seed. I bought the actual plant from our local daylily farm, and I bought that with a Mexican sunflower. And she said, this is tropical milkweed. It will not be perennial here because it's not perennial in our zone. So, there, you know, because there's a lot of controversy on growing milkweed for the butterflies because it is a very invasive plant. And I will tell you, I'm going to insert pictures of the tropical milkweed that we had and what it looked like when it went to its seed pod. And when that seed pod ruptures, the seeds escape like little flighted fairies. They go everywhere. They're even lighter than dandelion seeds in the air, and it was wonderful. But I was able to monitor the seed pods and clip them off right before they split because they do let off a very toxic and irritating milky sap. So that's a seed that I was able to harvest, and I have tons and tons of it. So that's the most important part of attracting your big, large wing monarchs and swallowtail butterflies to the garden. And I'm not an expert at this by any means. I'm so happily a student of the garden forever, and we're learning more and more about the butterflies. So while we watch the monarchs laying their eggs and having their caterpillars, and the caterpillars aid away at the milkweed, I will say that milkweed is the most critical part of having butterflies stay in your yard and reproduce. And I learned a few other things along the way. The black swallowtails really loved the carrots. And we read that they like to feast on the carrot greens. So if you're going to start a butterfly garden, maybe offer a carrot or two in the area so they can be on their greens. And if you're growing carrots in large amounts, make sure you check your leafy greens while you're harvesting to see if there's any baby caterpillars on there. Maybe you can just cut the tops off and put those greens in an area where they can stay on them and feast on them until they dry out and move on. And in the interim, you can grow other things as companion plants with your carrots and your tropical milkweed or your native milkweed to give them plenty of opportunity to not only lay their eggs, but to eat while they're here. So here's a few things that we researched that said they were excellent for attracting butterflies and feeding them. So we went and purchased a few different types of parsley from our Botanical Interest seed haul. So now my friend who raises butterflies said they really loved the curly parsley. So I'm going to make sure that I provide this to them in an area where I don't plan on harvesting it because they do They leave a lot of poops behind while they feed, and it's like little grenades everywhere. Similar to what you'll see from the other hornworms. When you can tell that they've been in your plants, they leave those grenades all through. Well, the monarchs and the swallowtails leave grenades behind as well. So if you're going to provide curly parsley and even some flat leaf parsley, I don't know that they like the flat leaf as much. I'm going to give that both to them so they can have their options, and it's going to be in a place where they can leave all the grenades behind that they want, and it will help for me to know if they're present or not when I see the remnants of them eating. So we're going to make sure that they have this. And I'm also going to plant some fennel. Now, from what I understand, fennel attracts a lot of pollinators into the garden, and that the butterflies love the fennel, as well as dill. So I went and I got 3 types of dill, 2 of them being from Botanical Interest. And you can see they highlight on the dill packet that it attracts butterflies and different pollinators. So I'm going to give them both of these options. Now, last year I did plant the elephant dill, and you can see that there's caterpillars on here from Baker Creek, but it didn't produce. So I'm going to keep trying, of course, and I'm going to mix all of these things together in different pots, and I'm going to try to isolate certain pots for the monarchs and certain pots for the swallowtails, where I'm going to give them like more carrots and more swallowtail options, so I can see which one they absolutely love the most. And hopefully I'll be able to actually get to harvest some of the fennel, since it's the leaves that they like, and we'll get to have the root that will be left behind. So this is a really exciting year for seed hauls because I'm focusing on the pollinators. Now, one of the things that the monarch butterflies really, really loved was the Mexican sunflower that I said I bought. And I almost did not walk away with that flower. I went to the Daylily farm specifically to pick up my Daylily bare roots, and she had starter plants already. And my neighbor said, Leigh, you have to get this Mexican sunflower. It's a huge plant with these beautiful orange flowers, and the butterflies and the hummingbirds absolutely love it. And don't you know, where the Mexican sunflower grew, we had so many monarch butterflies that would just come and feed on the nectar. So we went on to read why, certain plants, and evidently you have to provide nectar plants for the butterflies as well. So where you see the hummingbirds go is a good indicator for what are nectar plants. And the hummingbirds absolutely love the Mexican sunflower. So not only was I able to harvest seeds from my Mexican sunflower, it was very, very easy to do. I bought a backup pack from Botanical Interest to make sure that I still have it. And I believe this year Baker Creek is carrying it as well. So when I got my Baker Creek catalog, as you can see, yes, I did place an order and it just came. One of the things that they had that caught my eye is this beautiful blue, heavenly blue Tweedia, which is in the milkweed family. And I don't know if this is going to attract the same way, but I thought the color was beautiful, and I thought it would make interesting pots, and really the butterflies and the pollinators will come to all of these flowers. And you never know, sometimes they need something that we really just don't know. They know what they need. So I'm going to provide them as much as I possibly can. I will tell you that some of the other flowers that they absolutely loved, and I'll insert clips from the videos, they loved the zinnias. Every butterfly that came loved every zinnia variety, and the cosmos as well. And one of the pollinators that it really attracted was the little brown skipper butterflies, who are the friendliest little creatures. And we had so many of them, they would flutter around in little flocks of butterflies. It was amazing. And as you walked into the areas where we had all of our flowers, the little skippers would land all over you. So it was just so cool. And if you held your hand out, they would sit on your hand. It was just amazing. So, I never violated their space. I never went in and tried to catch them. I just allowed myself to be present out there at all times, and I was always close to the flowers, and I would lean in, and if they landed, they landed, and it was an absolutely wonderful experience. So we had so many new varieties of flowers this year, and I thought to myself, you know, what can I do to make it even more interesting? Because I wanted to cut the flowers and bring them inside and make bouquets. Like the zinnias were just incredible. But every time I wanted to cut a flower, I felt so bad because I felt like I was taking it away from the butterflies. So this year I decided to just plant more flowers, and I have so many zinnia varieties and more cosmos varieties that I'll get into on another video. But another flower that I really would like for you to get, if you're looking for some ideas, is the Tall Deluxe Perennial Snapdragon from Baker Creek. This flower did not disappoint. I did start them in starter cells. From what I understand, you can direct sow them, but every single seed germinated in the starter cells, and every seed was a different color. Some of them were a mix of white and pink together. Some of them were multiple shades. There were so many varieties, and it's winter hardy. Well, it's considered a tender perennial, so it does die back, but it takes a few years for it to get, you know, fully acclimated, but it does self-sow abundantly. So I was able to harvest a multitude of seeds from those flowers. And the thing that I loved the most about the pollinators that were attracted to the Tall Deluxe Snapdragon was the bumblebees. The bumblebees that came were everything that you want a bumblebee to be. They were fuzzy, they were yellow and black, and they were friendly, and they were big lumbering bees that they just didn't care if you were sitting next to the flower. And they go into the snapdragon flower, and I'll insert a video of the bees. They just kind of open up the little snappy mouth flower of the dragon, and they climb inside, and their little butts and legs hang out the back, and they're all covered in pollen. And it has to be one of the most peaceful things I have ever experienced. So we're looking to attract all sorts of pollinators. So we're making sure that we're aware while we do focus purchases from these catalogs that we're purchasing with purpose, because you'll be able to harvest seeds. It will be an investment, and you'll be able to collect seeds from most of these flowers on your own, so you'll always have them and most likely won't have to buy new seeds as you invest. So something that I thought that I would do would also, so that I can enjoy it more and bring the garden into the house, would be to invest in more flower seeds that I can use as cut flowers and leave outside to you know, provide for all of our pollinators. So earlier in the season, I sowed bachelor's button that I got from, some of them from Botanical Interest, some are from Baker Creek, and some are from M.I. Gardener. So they've already been planted out there, but I found a few more that are interesting, like larkspur went into the ground also. Now, a few new flowers that I'm absolutely in love with is Love in a Mist Nigella. Will you just look at this flower? Now, I saw this in a garden tour. I can't remember where the garden was. I'll have to remember. It was so gorgeous, though. I don't think it was Longwood Gardens. I'll have to remember who went, and they were also like, I need to harvest this flower. It is beautiful, it dries well, and it comes into producing these big, beautiful ornamental pods after the season is over. And I thought the incredible variety of pinks, blues, and ivories was just too gorgeous to pass up. And with all of these colors, it's going to attract all sorts of pollinators. Now, supposedly, this Miss Jekyll is one of the easier ones to grow, and you see flowers fairly quick on this one, versus a few other varieties that take a little bit longer to germinate, like the Midnight Nigella. This is a little bit of a longer germination time, and it takes a little bit longer before you see it in the garden. But the colors are incredible. And oh, Chanticleer. It might have been Chanticleer that I saw those flowers on a garden tour. But I don't know why I can't remember. It was fairly local. to the New Jersey, Pennsylvania. No, you know what? I know where it is now. It was the New York Botanical Gardens. That was where I saw the tour, and I had to really work that one out in my brain, you guys. It was a beautiful tour of the New York Botanical Gardens, and they had both of these growing, so I was inspired to grab them. Another flower that I've been seeing a lot of people who grow for cutting and making bouquets is Gumina. And these are the cutest little pom-poms that grow through the garden. And I figured I'd grab a few varieties that had different colors so we can see which one works the best. And I'm hoping to get some payback on this because it's not official yet, but I'm hoping that I might be able to do a little cut flower stand this year. And I'm really, really excited for that. And it will include flowers like this. I'll be using zinnias and all of the sunflower varieties that I bought, as well as adding basil that I'm going to allow to flower and different herbs into the flower arrangement. So not only will it add color and texture, but it will add some beautiful fragrance. Lemon basil in particular and lime basil are so beautiful and fragrant. It's just incredible. And that's another thing that the butterflies absolutely love. And at the end of the season, when it goes to flower and the goldfinches come, yet another incredible little creature that the earth offers us. The yellow goldfinches love feasting on the basil seeds, and they help to sow it around the garden. So we do have a lot of basil volunteers in the yard. So I'm so excited for all these little winged creatures. So because I was ordering from Baker Creek, I wanted to get a few things that I also knew I was going to use, which is this wonderful radish that I just discovered this year. It really does grow in like 3 weeks, and you're able to harvest these wonderful elongated radishes that have a beautiful, delicate flavor. They gave no fuss, they grew, they had minimal pest pressure on them, and it was the fastest growing radish that I've ever grown. And while this isn't related to the pollinator garden, I thought I would share with you why I wanted to make this purchase purposeful, as well as a new variety of chives. I love growing chives, and this is more of a Chinese garlic flavored chive than the basic chive I have growing now, which offers a beautiful little purple pom-pom allium-like flower, and this one will produce white flowers. So I like planting these in places also where there could potentially be some different pest pressure like rabbits or the deer. So I'm going to add this to a new garden that we'll be building up front on the lawn. It's going to have a lot of flowers. That's a project you'll want to stay tuned for. So I'm going to be adding things that flower and have a very strong fragrance into those gardens, like chives, zeolites, calendula, and some rosemary. So you'll want to stay tuned for that. And in case you were wondering, what was the free seed from the Baker Creek purchase this year? It was not the daytail pepper. I'm grateful, but thank God it was not Mizuna. And 1 packet of free spoon tomatoes is all you need to last you a lifetime. I also have tons of Merlot lettuce that has been free seeds through all of my orders, but I'm eternally grateful because I grow tons and tons of Merlot lettuce. And once you learn to germinate it properly and get it going, it's a wonderful addition to the garden, and it encourages you to eat fresh and take things from your garden to your table, and you just grow so much more awareness. And, you know, and for any visual interest in any cut flower gardens that you may be growing, lettuce does go to seed and it produces little flowers. So it's another edible flower that can grow in your garden and add interest. So anyway, you guys, that was my first seed haul of the year, and I'm sure there will be many to come, focusing on all of the wonderful pollinators and the butterflies that are going to come to the garden. So if this is your first time stopping here, my name is Leigh. Our backyard garden is located in northwestern Burlington County, New Jersey, and we are suburban gardeners. And we hope that you will come visit us again. Please subscribe to our channel if you have not already. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any new videos, and there will be a lot of new projects coming up real soon. So thanks, guys. Thanks for stopping in. I hope to see you in the next video, and happy growing.